Hello everyone and welcome to today's video where I'll be discussing how to avoid common job-based immigration scams and illegal activity when it comes to LMIA-based job fraud, specifically regarding immigration consultants and foreign recruiters. This video is designed for overseas workers who are aspiring to come to Canada. If you're overseas and looking to immigrate to Canada by obtaining an LMIA-supported job offer, it's important to know your rights and know what to watch out for. So first, I want to let's talk about the LMIA or Labor Market Impact Assessment. What is an LMIA? It's a government-validated offer of employment that is property of the employer, the Canadian employer, and that represents a gap or shortage in that occupation for that particular company. LMIAs are issued by Service Canada, also known as ESDC, Employment and Social Development Canada. They are not documents that are issued by IRCC, Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada. A skilled LMIA, when you are named on the offer, can add 50 points to your express entry profile and additionally can support your application for a work permit in Canada. When there are 45 million people roughly around the world that want to come to Canada, this makes an LMIA a very valuable document for an aspiring foreign worker or a foreign national seeking to immigrate to Canada. It's important to remember, though, it is illegal to pay for an LMIA unless you are an employer. Those are the only people that can pay for LMIAs, employers. An LMIA constitutes a government-approved job offer. And when you pay for a job offer, that's considered bribery and fraud. It's not only illegal in Canada, but also in many other countries. Getting caught for this can result in a 5-year ban from Canada for misrepresentation and can result in enforcement action against the employer and consultant. So it's important that you do your due diligence. So, what is foreign recruitment? Foreign recruitment services in Canada involve assisting Canadian employers with hiring foreign workers and typically involve assisting the employer in applying for an LMIA or several LMIAs. These services are typically provided by immigration consultants, lawyers, and immigration companies that must also be provincially licensed as recruiters or employment agencies if they are assisting with the selection, in brackets, recruitment of foreign workers. These services include activities such as identifying suitable candidates, conducting pre-screening interviews, and verifying credentials and qualifications. It's important to note that foreign recruitment services are paid for exclusively by the Canadian employer, and it is illegal for a job seeker or a foreign national to pay for a job offer or pay for recruitment services. In contrast, immigration services in Canada are professional services that assist individuals with the legal process of immigrating to Canada. These services are lawfully provided by licensed immigration consultants such as myself or lawyers who are authorized to provide advice and representation on matters related to Canadian immigration, such as a work permit application or a visitor visa application. It is essential to understand the difference between foreign recruitment services and immigration services, so that if you are aspiring to work in Canada on a genuine LMIA-based job offer, that everything is legal and legitimate, so you don't jeopardize your future in Canada. As you can imagine, immigration consultants who perform both foreign recruitment services for Canadian employers and also immigration services to job-seeking foreign nationals, there's a very high potential for a conflict of interest. Well, this is because the immigration consultant has a financial incentive to recruit applicants that are willing to pay a larger amount, sometimes a very large amount for immigration services, such as a work permit application. What that does is it clouds the consultant's judgment in recruiting people based on the amount they can pay versus their skill set and ability to do the job in Canada, which is what they're supposed to be doing as a foreign recruitment consultant. So this is no different than paying for the job offer, which is why in the CICC, our regulatory body, the College of Immigration and Citizenship Consultants, has a code of conduct that is written in government regulation. Consultants who are performing both foreign recruitment services for the employer and immigration services for applicants must clearly delineate between the two offerings in service, clearly break down on their retainer agreement with you what you're paying for, and disclose the potential conflict of interest up front, as they also happen to be the employer's representative in many cases. This means if the foreign recruiter secured a job offer for you, you are not required to use the foreign recruiter as your immigration representative. In fact, you can perform the work permit application yourself and have a professional review it for a couple $100. Sometimes what can happen is that the job offer is secretly contingent on you retaining them for immigration services. If you fail to agree to use their immigration services, they will not recruit you for the employer. Again, this is illegal, and there needs to be a clear delineation between what you're paying for and what services you're receiving. These services cannot in any way include securing a job offer on the immigration services agreement in any way, shape, or form. You cannot pay for this. So it's important to be cautious if your potential immigration representative is also representing the employer for foreign recruitment services because of this conflict that exists. It's a natural conflict. So additionally, paying for a job offer is considered bribery and fraud and can result in serious consequences, including being barred from entering Canada for up to 5 years. Employers, immigration consultants, foreign recruiters, and agents are not permitted to charge individuals for a job offer or any related recruitment services. Therefore, if anyone offers you a job in Canada and it is contingent on payment, it is essential that you report this as fraud. So, what are some tips to avoid scams? Well, number one, never pay for a job offer, and be wary of recruiters who are charging you indirectly for the LMIA through exorbitant and high work permit application fees through their immigration service agreements. Remember, you are not required to use them for your immigration application. And if you don't, and it negatively impacts your job offer with the employer, the consultant is prejudicing you illegally, unlawfully, I should say. Ensure there is a clear delineation of professional fees on the services or retainer agreement with any consultant, and avoid unscrupulous consultants or agents or recruiters who ask for money before you receive a job offer from the employer. Be vigilant of consultants who represent both the employer and you, and request a clear breakdown of proposed service charges. Shop around for a second professional opinion on a reasonable cost for a work permit application if you have concerns. It's crucial to understand that the consultant is being paid by the employer to recruit foreign workers, and you should not pay for work permit services if it is contingent on receiving a job offer, an LMIA. So what do you do if you're being scammed? If you suspect that you're being scammed, be sure to review your service agreement first and request clarification on the breakdown of service charges. If your consultant cannot justify their charges to you and you suspect you are being charged for a job offer, then your next step would be to contact the employer directly to raise your concern. This is because employers are liable in Canada for the actions of recruiters acting on their behalf. So it's in the employer's best interest to avoid prosecution and finds that their recruiter is acting in accordance with the law. If you are unaware of the employer that the recruiter has been representing, then your next step would be to report the consultant or agency to the appropriate authorities. So what are some of these authorities? Well, if your consultant is licensed with the College of Immigration and Citizenship Consultants, the CICC, they are the college that regulates the immigration consulting profession in Canada. You can file a complaint with the college. If they are a lawyer, there are the various provincial law societies that regulate the legal profession in Canada, and you can report a lawyer to their appropriate society depending on the province they're practicing in. Service Canada. You can report LMIA-based job fraud to Service Canada through their Integrity Services branch. Of course, IRCC, CBSA, you can report generic immigration fraud to both IRCC and CBSA. Another thing is a lot of recruiters require that they have a provincial license. So the provinces regulate companies and agencies that are performing recruitment services, in particular foreign recruitment services. So fraudulent activity can be reported to the recruitment licensing boards and bodies. And finally, the provincial labor boards. So that would be, for example, Alberta Labor. Job fraud and foreign recruitment scams can be reported to them as well, and they will take action on that. In an effort to continue to improve upon the equality, fairness, and integrity of Canada's immigration system, and as the aspiring immigration minister someday, I would invite you to contact me if you have any concerns via email regarding potential job scams or fraud, and if you require a second opinion. I provide this service for free as I'm hoping to influence positive change within our immigration system so Canada can continue to attract the best and brightest from around the world.